Here with Andrew, I gotta tell you, that twist shocked me. How did you feel about a country basically voting you out?
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's crazy to be put up by your entire country in a situation like this, and I'm still kind of getting over it.
Is it harder when it's like not players in the house? Like, I think that was probably difficult to swallow, right? Like the fact that it wasn't in game, it was kind of like people outside the house who don't really see what's going on.
Yeah, you really hit it there. I think that's probably the most frustrating part about it. When you've got everything going your way, or so it seems, and then a twist like that's thrown in, and it literally turns everything upside down and screws up the whole game for you. Yeah, it's a tough thing to swallow for sure.
Does it surprise you that people look at the first five as like villains? Because really, all you kind of did the smart thing. You go into the house, you make an alliance, and because of that, people were just like, "Well, these guys are the bullies. They're already aligned."
Well, it does surprise me to hear that we were viewed as villains. I didn't know that until right now, but I can see, in a way, coming in so strong right off the bat, maybe makes things predictable. And only the fact that it was my alliance that they screwed up, and so I'm a little bit frustrated about it. But that's it.
The idea of like getting into the house in that first group and aligning right off the bat, a lot of people have been talking about that. It didn't really happen last season. This season, it happened right away. Do you think that that was like sort of a fair move? Because everybody's sort of open to doing the same thing, right?
I think it's an absolutely fair move. We were just the luck of the draw in the sense that we were the first five to walk in the door. Sabrina came up with the idea, and we all jumped on board immediately. And I think it was the right mix of people because any other person thrown into that, I think, would have wavered. So the fact that we walked in together and we were able to stay true to each other until, last night, and I think they will moving on.
I always argue with Peter about like what is a good Big Brother player, and we both think that it's like a social player that like plays all sides of the house. And then on the opposite side of the coin, there are people that think that the best players are the ones that win competitions. What do you think is a good Big Brother player?
I think a good Big Brother player is both of those combined in an alliance. So Sabrina and myself working together, I think is the best of both worlds. She is an amazing social game. She's able to get in everybody's ear, and as a result, I was fed all that info and was able to head out there and do my best in all the competitions.
Your relationship or your showmance with Allison was obviously one of the major storylines of the show, and I think that your relationship changed as it went along. Like at the beginning, you were kind of like hooking up with her and then telling the first five, "Oh, I'll cut her at any time." But then at the end, she kind of seemed like your only ally, like standing beside you when the chips were down. What is your relationship like with Allison now?
I think you got it right on the mark there. At the beginning, it was hard to trust her altogether. There was suspicion of her potentially being in an alliance with John, in a Newfie alliance. Sabrina had brought that to light. As things went on, I stopped believing in that, and as I got to know her, I got to know how amazing a person she is, and that's when we started really forming a real connection, and things changed. And you're right, she was by my side the whole way through and right to the end, and that was genuine emotions and genuine feelings there.
Will anything happen after the show?
Absolutely. I mean, as long as she's up for it, right? So I'll be waiting for her at the wrap party.
A lot of people sort of compared you to Tom, this like big, voracious kind of personality right off the top. Do you think that you were cast as the villain?
I had the suspicion that I was cast as the villain. I was filling that role from the beginning. I thought more of like the douchebag role, but I don't know if I fit right into that. There's certain aspects. I liked myself to Tom before even going on. So it doesn't surprise me so much that people thought that. And in fact, in a lot of ways, it's flattering because I was a fan of Tom, and being like to anyone that you've watched on TV is a pretty cool feeling. So
I want to talk a little bit about Adel. Adel has this like buzzworthy veto power, and he's been telling people in the house that it's a diamond veto, that he can like replace nominees. I personally think that's a chicken way of playing the game. Like he's basically threatening this power that doesn't exist. What do you think about that strategy?
Well, we were, skeptical about the strategy and the way that he was playing. I mean, Adele at times, comes across as not the sharpest tool in the shed. So the idea of him forming these plans is potentially hard to believe. So we were kind of skeptical, like all the way through, and even now the remaining four don't really buy everything he's saying. So Yeah, it was his tactic to stay in, as well as, jump on every other sinking ship that's a bigger target than himself. And he's managed to stay in longer than me, so I can't really criticize the way that he's played so far.
Last night you found out that your partner in crime, Kenny, is gay. How big of a surprise was that for you?
It was a massive surprise because he played such, this straight character, and also a surprise because I don't see why he would hide it. It wouldn't have made a difference between our relationship, and I don't think it would have made a difference in the house. It may have even been a positive thing for him. So I need to really meet up with him and talk about why he thought it was a positive thing for his strategy. But regardless, I'm just excited to party with him afterwards.
You were known for your harsh goodbye messages, and last night you got a few of your own, from Netta, John, and Adele. What was it like sort of being on the other end?
Take it with a grain of salt. None of them really fazed me at all. I had very similar opinions of the three that gave me hard goodbye messages, so I probably would have done the same for them. At the end of the day, I did, deal out some pretty harsh words to my nemesis that fell in my wake, so it was deserved.
With Paul, he called you out, called you a sexist, called you a racist. What is your relationship like with Paul now, and do you think you'll be friends outside of the house?
Well, as of now, I haven't spoken to Paul since I've left the house. But like anything, this is a game, and that's one thing I kept saying throughout the whole thing. I think that by him attacking me in those ways, he went against what the game is really about, which is playing strategy and playing the people in the house, not the characters of the people or, these characters that you're trying to portray. So that was my biggest problem with him. I think that going forward from this, I've got no issues being friends with anyone that's involved in this show.
Last night you were also sent home over Sabrina. Sabrina's gotten a lot of attention for her comments. She's a huge character on the show. Do you think that Canada has the wrong idea of Sabrina, and how much power does she truly have in the house?
I think that she has had a lot of power up until maybe now. I don't know if Canada has a negative opinion of her, and if they do, then they do have the wrong impression, because she's really an amazing girl with the biggest heart that you can possibly have. Legitimately, that is how she is, and I love her for it. The only problem for her now is that all of the social strategies are kind of out of the mix, and now it's a divided house. The sides are clear, and where they're going to go from there, I don't know if there's a lot of social game necessary.
And finally, do you sort of regret the fact that you basically only played with one side of the house, with the Kenny and the Sabrinas, not really engaging in any type of alliance with Netta, John, Adele? Do you think that might have been your downfall?
I think that it's one way to look at it. It could have been viewed as my downfall at the end here, not being able to get that fifth vote to keep me in the house. But I don't look at it. I think I stayed true to what I said right from the beginning. And had Canada not put me up on the block, I don't see that going in any other direction except for us making first five into final five. So, thanks, Canada. I still love my country, but that was a hell of a twist.
So you're not going to apply for your green card?
No, not anytime soon. I might take a long trip to Thailand and hit up some beaches to relax a little bit. But no, definitely still a patriotic Canadian.
And what's next for you?
Just going to fall into the celebrity status as it is, and just.
You said that with a straight face.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be the running theme here. No, and all jokes aside, I'm probably just going to jump back in after, a little break into, back to work, working with beer, and see where things go. I mean, who knows what could happen from this point on.
Who's going to win?
Kenny's going to win. Kenny or Sabrina, either way, they're both taking me on the trip, so I'm excited for the end.
And are twists part of the game?
Well, it turns out, twists are a larger part of the game than I realized, so yes, it's a safe thing to say.
Amazing, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.